Not everything metal was created equal.
It's been a really good interview, by the way, guys. Probably one of the best I've done so far, and I've done loads at the minute.
The Metal Podcast. Chuck and Godless attempt to bring order to chaos, or just ask questions that make everyone feel uncomfortable.
That's probably the most unusual question I've been asked.
This is the Metal Podcast with Chuck and Godless.
Greetings and salutations, my fine metal friends. Welcome to another edition of the Metal Podcast. How you doing? I am Chuck.
I'm Godless, as are we all.
Oh, and this is our somewhat quarantine cast version of the Metal Podcast that we are trying to bring you on some kind of regular or something. I don't know how we're going to be doing all this stuff, man. We're going to be doing what we do. We talk about stuff. We actually did an entire cast before the cast, which is what we do every time, because we started like, let's see if we can come up with some kind of topic or something that we're going to talk about. And damn it, all the best stuff already happened. So sorry, we apologize. So now you get the leftover crap, man. So we're trying to survive the quarantine of the COVID and all of the stuff, even though both of us are still working, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean we're kind of sequestered in a way, at least not going out and doing other things, you know.
I'm like unprepared. I'm not sleeping. I'm not like listening to any music anymore. I'm just panicked and ridiculous. So like I'm gonna be talking on my ass even more than usual. I haven't had like a coherent thought, I feel like, in like 5 weeks now.
Is that humanly possible? Can you really do more than what you've already done? I mean, you've talked out of your ass quite a bit.
Let's give it a shot. What do you say?
All I know is that now my daughter has just started her French horn lesson in the background. So be prepared. There will be some background music as we go through this. It's going to be fun. If anybody knows anything about French horn, it is never the melody. So it's always like, burr, 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 burr. She's good, but you know, it is what it is. It's not metal.
I always said like to my kid, like even when he was little, I would rather you be addicted to crack cocaine than join the marching band. And
it's probably less expensive. I'll say that.
Damn straight. Oh my God. Like the school my kid's going to this next year, like won like some sort of national marching band thing. And like, you know, like all the old friends are all like, oh, we had so much success in the marching band. We love the marching band. We're going to continue with the marching band. I'm like, shouldn't you all like just quit while you're on top? You know, like you're only sophomores. Just
no, that's why they do the every other year thing, right? Like, so if they do one competition one year, they do another a different year, and they rotate so that you don't have that kind of thing every year where you've got to be the number one. But once you go up, you can only go down. That is the penalty of all that stuff.
Yeah, I figure if you're the best, you should be like, you got to go back to repeat. You know,
yeah, peace out later.
Yeah. It like either you do that, like you're going to the big national and you're going to defend your crown, because no champ is a champ until you've defended it one time, you know, that sort of shit.
Right.
Or you just like, you know, call up all the instrument companies, get your endorsements, add it to the CV for your college application, and sit at home, do nothing.
But I think the issue that they're going to have, just like the issue that our industry is going to have overall, is being effective for any kind of crowd or putting anything together. I mean, marching bands got something screwed because they're a crowd in and of themselves. So like, it's not like you're in a group of 9 baseball players who could be out on the field by yourselves with no crowd or whatever. You actually are a group. So, you know, when you see a band playing their live stream or whatever, it's like 3-4 guys on stage. But now we're talking about putting crowds of people back into rooms together to go see live music and stuff. And it just came out recently last week that the Governor Newsom of California said that he didn't expect to see any kind of live concerts or other like conventions, things like that happening until like the fall of 2021, possibly early 2022. Other concert promoters have said things to the same effect, that they weren't expecting to book tours or anything until 2021. What was it? There was another health expert that had come out and said basically the same thing, that best case scenario is a year. 18 months is probably what is much more realistic for us to get an idea of what a vaccine would look like for all this. So what does that mean? You know, when we're talking about going forward with any of this stuff, as far as those people that love live music and their livelihoods are built on live music. Was it the dude from Carnifex that said they lost like $250,000 this year or something like that? You know, like, so what the hell is this how's this gonna turn out for everybody?
First of all, if they lost $250K on a tour, when they get back on the road, I don't want to hear anybody complaining about not having enough money anymore, because $250K for a single tour for, you know, like that's okay. We can make that work. You know, like if you get home after making $250K on the road and you don't have enough to put in each band member's pockets and be able to make it for, you know, maybe 6 months till you do another tour, maybe even more, then like you got.
Well, but I also wonder that's also like a singer talking about finances. So I'm not entirely confident in his numbers.
Yeah.
You know, $250,000 may have been like the line that he saw at the bottom. You know, like this is what the net is. So now the gross is actually $2,500. You know, like let's what are you really losing out on? We don't know. I mean, but it could be. I mean, it could also be. You think about like Slayer, and when they talk about how much how much money they made on merch, you know, that is really tied to the tour. You know, you can sell merch online, but you're not selling it like by the gross, like when you are out in front of a crowd. That's where, you know, obviously your money is being made for the most part. But so $250,000 seems like, you know, a lot, like kind of outrageous. But, you know, what does this mean going forward? Is it time? I mean, like for the next, you know, year to 18 months, do bands need to be looking at a completely different way to build revenue and to build following? I mean, is it worth releasing an album to come out to go along with this? Is it smart to do that right now because you have no way to follow it up? Or is this like the best time to be able to do it because you have a captive audience who you can really get to, and we're driving people to content online?
Well, this is the thing, right? First of all, like this Metal Sucks article about how a top booking agent predicts that there'll be no more shows for 2020. Like, all right, they addressed it right. That it's just one person saying this, and it's not a consensus. There is no consensus on this. If there's one thing that we should have learned out of all this is that, like, you know, all those predictions of like 11 million people, 110 million people, like they didn't even know when they were making the predictions originally how many people were going to be infected. And now we're talking about a fraction of that. Like, obviously we don't know shit. We just don't know shit.
True.
And so, yeah, you're going to get some clicks by telling everybody, oh, I don't think we're going to ever have shows again. Like, this is the plague. Like, all right, you're going to get that. But like, you're just one person's opinion.
Well, no, I agree with that. But when you're talking about the governor of California saying that he doesn't see, and it's still, like you said, it's still speculation because, you know, you can't really say what's going to happen. They could find a vaccine fucking tomorrow or something, you know. I mean, however this gets resolved, but still large crowds and large groups trying to get back together before the end of 2020. That seems like a hard sell. Like, that's a hard push. And especially when that's coming from government. And if the government of California is saying that, what bands are going to be touring? You know, I mean, because California is like 50 fucking stops for any tour that goes through there, you know? So you've got that's a big market for anybody that's going out on tour, is to hit the California coast.
Yeah, but keep in mind too that there's all these like no more than 50 people. Like, there's a ton of metal tours that go around that can't draw 50 people in any particular market. So no danger there, you know. Like, Finally. You know?
Every local show is fine.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
shit. God damn it. Oh, how true. How true. It's
Oh,
unfortunate, but true.
Yeah. And then beyond that, like you already have people on the verge of rioting. You've got a president trying to stoke a civil war just to get people out and doing things. Like it or not, bands will be on the road. Like, bands are so anxious to be on the road, and
Right.
venues are so anxious to open that people could be collapsing right there next to the bar, and everybody goes,
That's
just like
metal.
last Thursday, like there's no difference. Like, I mean, what was the episode of It's Always Sunny where there's the drunk who was like passed out, but it wasn't, turns out he was dead, like that's the future. I think that people are going to be like, well, keep in mind too, that like I was looking at statistics about grocery stores and everybody's like, we thought that there'd be tons of people dying in the grocery stores. It turns out it's the old people are dying in the grocery stores who work at the grocery stores. Young people are most of the workers in the grocery stores. They may get sick, but they're not going to die. That's the metal crowd. Like, if the orchestra is doing a show, you might want to skip it because all the oldies, these people will die, right? But like, and maybe you want to skip out on like, Anthrax and Testament on tour, but, for like everybody doing this stuff now, if like Protest the Hero go on tour, everybody's probably pretty safe.
Well, but you say that, but at the same time, though, that's where we don't know just yet, right? And those are the unknowns of anything. The idea of reinfection, the idea of keeping it around. And, like my problem is that, I want to go like hug my mom at some point. And, if I'm hanging around a bunch of sweaty metal dudes, dude, I mean, that's probably not a great idea for me to go and do that and then go hang out with some old people. So like, depending upon how this shapes up later on, and what we discover about this virus until they get some kind of vaccine in place, man, we could be looking at summer of 2021 before we get reinstated. So my thought is that if we got to get to that point, like worst case scenario, that law says nothing on over 50 people gather into any kind of room, and they give you a square footage requirement of what can be and can't be, because that's going to be the next thing, right? Is fire code is going to change so that they say, oh, you can only have like one person per 100 square feet or whatever. I think it's like it's 10 people for 1,000 right now or something like that at Walmart. But they put in some kind of rule like that. Then what is that kind of metric look like for touring bands going forward, especially that are on such thin margins like metal bands? Metal bands margins are not like Metallica on that level, most of them, you know what I mean? Well,
hey, I'd pay a little bit more to go to a metal show if I didn't have to stand the whole time and every chair is at least 6 feet away from everybody else. That's pretty good,
Actually, that's not a bad idea. They do it like the movie theater style where you can all kick back in a recliner, 4 feet apart, man. All right, okay. I can totally. The mosh pit's going to be a little weird, but still, I mean, okay, that'd be kind of interesting. God, can you? I just can't even think of what like being around people right now. It feels so weird. Like I met like a client today up at the radio station, and it was my first time that I've met another outside person that I didn't have the inclination to shake hands. Like, no, I've been meeting people doing work and other stuff, and I'm inclined to shake hands all the time. Like, that's just, the way you greet people, right? This was the first time where I was like, stay away. Like, it was weird. Like,
you didn't, right?
No, didn't shake hands.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I wasn't inclined to shake hands. Like, I didn't have the urge to go in for a handshake. You know what I mean? Normally I'm fighting that urge because COVID, right? Yeah. So what's that feeling going to be like when you get near the mosh pit for the first time? Dude, I mean, like, really think about it. Like I feel weird getting close to somebody trying to grab a steak out of the freezer at fucking HEB, like, what's it going to be like if you,
I think that's probably the bigger danger. Is not like whether the venue's open and whether the bands go on tour, but how many people are willing to shell out $20-25 to, for all intents and purposes, risk their life for that show.
Metal.
Like, that I think is where the real danger is like, you know, for those first bands that go out there and test the waters. Yes, I think there's going to be a surge because people are going to be like, I got to get out. I'm willing to risk my life.
Looking for something. Yeah.
But like 4 weeks after that, once you've had a couple shows under your belt, you kind of go, yeah, I think I've got my fill here. I think I'm good.
I'm starting to think that the guys that are doing the karate kicking mosh pit thing had the right idea all along. It's like, stay the fuck away from me in the pit. I'm just going to swing my arms around as far as I can. Those guys knew what they were doing, and we all made fun of them for years about not knowing what the hell they were doing in a mosh pit. Now, look at them. They were wearing masks. They were cyber goths before it was cool. Like, shit. Now, these guys are like, you know,
see, what's great is that and you're the same way. Much more interested in watching the mosh pit than participating in the mosh pit.
That's very true.
And the dumber the people in the mosh pit, the better. So like now, like those who are moshing are really, really, really dumb, and that's going to be entertainment for the rest of us.
That is somewhat true. Because I'm way too damaged being in a mosh pit now. I'm too old for that shit. I mean,
oh, totally. No.
There are not many things that I freely will admit that I'm too old for. That I am too fucking old for. There's no way I can.
Saw Creator at Emos like 6 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I forget who it was, like Accept or somebody like that opening up. It was the craziest thing. And then there's the big old Thrasher, old school mosh pit. And there I'm going around, and then I get like, the defensive tackle, and I go up in the air, onto the ground, and in my back of my head, wham, onto the concrete. And just for a second, I'm like, that could have killed me. That was it. So like coronavirus is only like, the dressing on that pudding as far as like, risking your life for a metal show at this point. I was already taking risks.
Yeah, except for, like this, it's stuff you take home, man. I mean, and it's worse than the clap, I mean, this shit, it's going to kill grandma, and that's no fun.
I just figured, remember how dangerous Dillinger Escape Plan shows where, they did a reunion concert now, they just stand on the stage and spit on everybody.
Sorry, it just made me. It was one that made me laugh, and then made me go, "Oh, I missed the Escape Plan." It's just shit. Like, damn it. So like it's hard when you go through like what metal band would you be willing to die for?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
No, I mean really, what metal band would you be willing to die for? Is there anybody out there right now that you'd be willing to give your life to go see a show?
Like the only ones that I've already seen so many times.
I know.
So therefore it's like, I think I can pass. And then, so like what new metal bands that I haven't seen would I be willing to risk my life for? Like, I can't think of anybody.
Well, most of the metal bands that I would probably give my life to go see, I've seen 1,000 times, and also would probably die if they held the show in the first place, because they're all probably in the danger range, of any of those. It's like, shit, you guys you don't need to be on stage, bro. That was a bad idea. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's the question, right? Who would you die to go see? Like,
I still haven't seen Astronoid, like, I still haven't seen Zeal and Ardor. I mean, like that. But this is the thing I was thinking the other day, because the quarantining thing, after a while it starts to get to you, and I'm just thinking, like if I died right about now, I think I
would
think
you be okay with it?
Everybody could kind of just feel, you're like. Waking up tomorrow just doesn't sound as interesting as it used to. And like, so it's like, if I get like an Asteroid concert before that, like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Okay. I could see that. Okay.
But like that's just being depressed.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's like, why you got to be all Gen X about it, man. Don't you? It's like, fuck it, I've already lived.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
I'm dead inside already, man. So who gives a shit?
The whole self-isolation thing was so much more fun when nobody else was self-isolating.
Right.
Like,
I know. And now that everybody is, it's like, oh boy, you got to be so fucking impressed with yourself now, because you don't want to be, you don't get to be around people. How long I've been trying to do that, it's not even funny.
And if I'm going to self-isolate, I want to be alone when I'm doing it. That's really what it comes down to, you know?
Yeah, true. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of anybody that I would like to just say, fuck it, I'm coming out of quarantine. I'm going to risk my life to go see this band, you know? Like,
And how many bands? I mean, think about the bands are the ones who are really at risk because they're the ones who are going from city to city to city, meeting person after person after person, because God knows you still got to go to the merch booth to shake people's hands and sell your stuff. Like, they're the ones who are really risking their life. It ain't that. I mean, yeah, it's scary for us as fans, but to be the band who goes out on the road doing that, ooh, you know, all of a sudden now being the guy who, like, you know, packs up the drum set for half an hour instead of going to the merch booth to meet fans seems like a good gig, you know?
well, you say that, but at the same time, though, when you go back and you look at the Death Angel Testament, that tour, you know, the roadies are the guys who seem like they got infected and passed this shit around. I don't think, you know, Chuck Billy and what's his nuts from Death Angel were making out. I think this is equipment that's getting passed around between person to person inside of a tour. So not only that, you're getting exposed to other people that are on tour with you. You're getting exposed to the crowd. You're getting exposed to the people at the bars. You're going to different city to city, small, large, everything, all the above, red state, blue state. Some have quarantine, some didn't, some, you know, like every situation you possibly could.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you what do you think is the way, how do you go out and do that again and be safe about it? Or is there a way to do, like, I think ultimately that's really, it's not about the industry that's looking to get people back on stage. I think the bands and the artists are the ones that need to be more worried about being out there in the next 12 to 18 months than anybody going to the shows is, right?
Yeah, I mean, bands have not necessarily been known for having a healthy lifestyle before, so I'm not really sure that they would take it too seriously. It's just like, you know, band is gonna band, you know. But
I've been on High on Fire's bus. It is not disinfected. I will guarantee you that for sure. So, you know, yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of hand washing going on. So.
Totally. Yeah, that's the thing, man. It's just I do. We talked about this last time, I think, which was you know, how many band members go like, it ain't worth it, I'm gonna go get a job coding, you know, like those people who just don't feel music in their bones, and you know, and then they face this kind of challenge, like, okay, now, like, you don't even like really love it, you just do it because you always have, type of thing. And now you're going to risk your life night in, night out, not just on the highways, you know, but also like touching people. That's freaking
so
scary.
Callback, like extreme callback, right? This was probably us doing Metal Sucks way back when. So do you have a plan B? So if you have a plan B, then you're not really a true artist, right? That was the old thing that we always used to kind of harp on, was that anybody who's got a plan B did not have a true plan A to become an artist or be on stage for the rest of their lives. If they learned how to be a plumber, they're a plumber. That plays guitar, right? Yeah. So what about all those guys that are true musicians and true artists and don't have a plan B? You know, what does this look like for them? You know?
Oh, so scary. And I feel too, especially for artists that don't have like a lifeline, you know, like, you know, if
the wife that works at Microsoft or something, you know.
Well, no, not even that, but I mean, even professionally, like, you don't have the label that you call up and say, hey, give me an advance, you know, give us
the support system,
you know, or some sort of financial support system for this sort of thing. I mean, you know, people have been shitting on labels for years, but
this is what they were there for.
Yeah, a time like this. I mean, granted, you know, the label's going to bend you over the desk, and you know.
But still, they're there to kind of keep you alive because they want to make more money off you someday.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you're going to have a longer contract, or, you know, lower royalty rate or whatever it is, but you can make it. But if you don't have that, I'm thinking of, like, you know, because Plan B immediately popped in my head. We're talking Clutch, you know, what's his face, the drummer from Clutch, was the one who said this. And by the way, their live concert at Hellfest just went on YouTube a few days ago. Got to check that out.
Oh yeah,
and,
but I saw the post, but I didn't watch the show yet.
Yeah. And then what was the other thing? Yeah, but they don't have a label. Like they are 100% self-sufficient. And you can imagine that when the guys all go, hey, look, school tuition for the kids is coming due. Let's hit the road. And then you can't, like, I mean, I guess you make an SBA loan, but all that sort of thing. But it's freaking scary.
Or is it better because you have nobody to be holding to but yourself? So like you don't have to pay those bills or fulfill that contract with anybody except for you. And then whatever creative outlet or thing you figure out to put together, you can earn the rewards basically from that. So if they get subscribers to put out old concerts, or if they're doing those cool playlists and mashup things that we talked about, they were doing, like those things, like that's all them. So if they're getting the web hits, they're getting the YouTube views, they're making a little money off that goes straight to them. So they don't have a middleman to deal with to go with that stuff too. So, I mean, I guess there is kind of a benefit and a downfall to all that either way.
Oh, totally.
But I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see what and if some of these, I think it's going to be just like every other business that's out there right now. I think a lot of the bands are going to either survive, they're going to evolve, or they're going to dissolve entirely. Like they're going to go back to being solo artists and figuring out what they're going to do in a different way, because they're going to have to. And this next year is going to be really telling in what the music industry is going to do. And the metal genre in general has been suffering from a lack of creativity the last couple of years, like no other genre I think really is. When you've got what was the big country hit that was the rap country hit that was huge last year?
This Town, or
yeah, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So like even country is more innovative right now than what metal is.
Fighting words, Chuck. Them is fighting words.
I'm just saying. I let you listen to every fucking album that comes out every year, man, as much as I can. I listen to so much stuff. And the last 2 years has been miserable. It has been miserable. So trying to find like a top 20 every year was hard. Like I almost didn't do it this year because I was like upset that I couldn't find enough bands to fill it. Yeah. So, we're kind of in a dearth right now. Anyway, is this the moment that is going to be that's gonna become the start of a whole thing?
Yeah, I love that idea. That there, like my, fantasy is that you got a whole bunch of metal dudes sitting around with their laptops, recording, re-recording, trying things forwards, trying things backwards,
exactly.
And trying to find new ways to push the envelope. That would be awesome if that's what's going on.
I really, 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 really hope that that's exactly what's happening right now. I can't guarantee that. I have no idea if that's the truth of the matter, but this is one of those moments that I think that can define a generation of music, and because it is so it's so global. It's something we're all going through. It's something that everybody in the entire world is experiencing in one way or another. It may not affect all 6 billion people on the face of this planet, but at the same time, all 6 billion people on this planet are being affected by it, whether it's by not having a job, whether it's not, whether it's a friend or family member dying, whether it's working through all of the stuff in the middle of this. Somebody's being affected by it. So you can't help but it affecting your creativity in some way, shape, or form. So in metal, of course, is just like right there at the cusp of everything painful and fucking wrong with everything. So come on, let's milk the fucking juice out of this thing, dude.
That there's somebody out there, and it might not even be in metal, but somebody out there is going to produce something that just captures this better than anybody. Be like the freaking the song from the 2016 Olympics or whatever, like that's the thing, that when people think of the Olympics, they think of that song, and like there ought to be, and there probably will end up being a song that will be the soundtrack for this.
You got to be careful what you ask for, though, because you're going to wind up with "Proud to be an American" again, and nobody wants that shit, man.
Nobody wants.
I'm just saying that, I don't want that. What I don't want a thing. I want all the things, and I really think that given the right kind of inspiration, which is what I think a lot of people have been lacking in the last decade, right? The right kind of inspiration to really fire something off in a direction. I think we could find something like what I'm thinking about are the 14-year-olds right now that are really trying to figure the world out and what they're going to be doing in 4 or 5 years. Like that's probably the most the most interesting thing I think we're going to see is it's going to take a couple of years to really kind of form itself. And it's nobody who's doing stuff right now. It's going to be people that are coming of age right now that are going to be doing some really, really cool stuff or figuring out things in a completely different way because they're having to figure out the world in a different way than anybody else has before.
Yeah, or it might be CeeLo Green, who just like jerks off a old song and it's shit, but everybody thinks it's the best thing ever.
Oh, damn it, son of a bitch. Yeah. Oh.
Because that's probably what'll happen. Yeah.
Take the wind out of my sails. Fine. All right. Just everybody go listen to Igor and figure out that there is something else out there for you to do with fucking metal that is not the same shit. Okay. Because that stuff is stupid crazy, man.
And you were talking Master Boot Record.
So no, dude, that's another weird one. Synth strangeness. Like it reminds me of Author and Punisher, but like no vocals and just really odd. And so I'm find myself digging more of that kind of stuff that is just really off the beaten path, but it's melodic and makes sense. So it's not as weird as Igor is. It's different. It's something different, like completely.
I'm reminded of like when we talked to John Baisley of Baroness, right?
Yeah.
And I remember asking him about how does he know when the painting is done? Because he's got so much detail in that like at a certain point he must either get bored with painting that painting or just feel like, you know what, I think I'm done. I'm going to try doing something else. And he was like, no, I just keep going and I never really want to stop. But like to have that, to do that, you need time. You need time to do that. If you're working, 9 to 5, or you're working a late shift and then during the day you do your art, then it's tough to find that kind of time. And I imagine it's almost impossible to not compromise your art to a certain degree. Now, here we've got a time where we got a whole bunch of artists who just got a check for $1,200, supposedly, and they've got nothing but time, and hopefully they're inspired enough to want to fill that time with getting really detailed and doing something awesome, the way that John Baisley does with his paintings, rather than like having an empty canvas, which is what the amount of time a lot of these people have now, and not even knowing where to start.
All I know is that all of my spare time was dedicated to trying not to be creative because I didn't want to like do anything shitty. So that's why we're doing a podcast again. So,
hopefully it's not shitty.
Here we are.
I get like 30 minutes like at lunchtime and I only get lunchtime maybe 2 or 3 times a week. And I just like, because I'm working from home, it's like I just pop on Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever it is and just like watch a little of something. And so they just added The Wire on.
Oh yeah, I never watched it before, so
but I've heard about it for ages, so I pop it on. All right, so this was my moment where I kind of go, "What the hell's wrong with my life?" Right? Like they had, it's a 20-odd-year-old TV show, almost 20 years old, right?
Right.
But they have like all the characters keep having meetings inside strip clubs, and I'm reminded, like when I was a kid, you'd watch like 48 Hours or all these other, great movies. And like, it was like they would, all the meetings and all these movies and TV shows always happened in strip clubs and people were carrying briefcases. And like, I've never, as an adult, carried a briefcase and had a meeting in a strip club. And I'm not disappointed in that, but I'm kind of disappointed in that. You know what I mean? It's like,
Well, dude, I think you just need to reinvent the wheel, man, and start bringing like strip club Zoom meetings to a thing, you know? So like instead you just start inviting strippers to your Zoom meetings. So that way off in the corner over here, you've got like some ladies on a pole over here, and maybe mix it up. So you got some dudes on the right side, you got some girls on the left side. So it's mixed bag for everybody. Cause you never
that
know.
is freaking brilliant. That would be so great. Yeah.
And dude, you make a service out of it. So what you do is you make it so that you can like market it to people. You can be the strip club meeting guy, so that they hook you up, and boom, it's like you've got cam girls on each side. It'll be awesome, man. I think
Like imagine there's like a bunch of like low life mobsters and drug dealers. They're having Zoom meetings right now, and they're all like, you know, something's not right. We're missing something.
I mean, shit, you're getting bottle service at home anyway, you know, you might as well just go for it. Like go all out. You get the salad bar with the pubic hair in it. It's going to be a good time, dude. Everybody's going to have a great time.
And you know how like, all right, so like this isn't meant to be like derisive of strippers, right? But in all of these TV shows and movies, the strippers look so incredibly bored. Like there's no enthusiasm for their job. And I get it. If you're on high heels, you know, wearing almost nothing for 8 hours in front of a bunch of degenerates, like I could see why you don't have enthusiasm. But maybe you could apply some enthusiasm in the Zoom, you know, like.
Oh, no. See, the whole idea is that, and this goes for the live or the Zoom meeting, is that you don't want to be distracting. You are window dressing. You know, that's the whole idea. At some point, the meeting will be over, and then you call them over. So then what you can do is you can click on one in your Zoom meeting and say, okay, you're coming with me, and you add a tip to them. And then they can get special for you if you want, you know, then it becomes like a cam girl kind of situation. So you can kind of make it multitask, and you can go to a sub meeting, you know, and have a sub meeting in the champagne room, and you're good to go. I like it.
Coronavirus entrepreneurialism, you know.
See, this is the kind of thing that the musicians need to come up with. These are the, you know, this is what, how to apply yourself in 2019 or 2020, you know, how to make this stuff work.
It's freaking awesome.
Hey, maybe if we could add a couple to ours, we get more views when we post these on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start stacking these things with some, we'll call them rock girls or something, you know, be like, all right, we got a rock girl over here, the cooter. That's Roxy. All right, Roxy, the rock girl. All right, good time.
You could have like just a Zoom strip club, you know, just like people pay, they come in the door, they tip while they're there, and then they leave, and somebody new comes in. Did you see the whole thing about like strippers delivering to the house? Yes.
I thought was brilliant, because it was like they were delivering food or whatever in you know, topless. And I was like, that's fucking smart. I was like, that's amazing. I mean, even if it is a well done steak covered in ketchup, it's still, you know, okay, all right, well, that's fun.
Is that like Boober Eats? What do they call that?
Uber Eats, I think is what they called it. It's like, that's great, man. Good times, man. I mean, so, you know, an innovative like or it could be your Zoom background is the strip club. So like instead you know how you got the ones of like the Disney castle and all that stuff that you put in the background in your Zoom. This is like, you know, the bada bing, you know, and the strippers are like, it's a GIF. So they're like going around the pole in a circle or something like that. So everybody can have their own little GIF of something up there, you know, behind them. Maybe that's another way to do it. Oh, I don't know. I still like the live cam girl thing. I think that's good. Good.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny though. Like all these bands, like, you know, they can't shoot music videos, and like Cattle Decapitation finally did a music video that I could watch. You know, so that was cool.
Luckily, it didn't turn out like, you know, forced gender modification or whatever. You know, with live cam video, like that would be holy crap.
I had pledged that I was never watching another Cattle Decapitation music video ever again. But then it was like there was nothing else. All right, yeah, I'll forget my pledge, and I watched it.
That was pretty good, though.
And it was good. It was funny. Yeah. It was, you know, creative. But now everybody's got to do their music video that's sort of the same way. And, you know, this is the thing is, and then I was watching a couple other like old music videos earlier this week, and like the new ones are only marginally worse than those ones. It's not like there was much creativity going on in music videos anyway.
No, half of them were just like band playthroughs and stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, whatever, okay. Or it was the ominous black and white photo of a flyover from a drone over a forest, and then with some flashy things, and the band playing in black and white in a warehouse, and then forest again, shit like that. It's like, here we go again. So like seeing that was actually kind of fun, because it was like timely but innovative at the same time. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I think bands need to be really, really cognizant about, especially the next 6 months to a year, are those opportunities that they can take to become innovative, creative, and apply all of those things, because they have all of those things in their brains. Now they just need to like put the rubber on the road, man, and go for it. And don't be afraid to try something, because fuck it. Who cares if you fuck up, so be it, man.
Yeah.
It's not like you can lose much else at this point, so
Yeah.
you might as well go for it. So that was actually, I really dug that, was glad to see Travis and the guys actually pull something off that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I was watching Greg do some like online playthroughs and shit yesterday, which is just watching from a Legion,
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's,
yeah.
and it's like, dude, what do you it just makes me feel stupid watching him play guitar. It does every time. I'm like, I am not smart enough. I'm not doing enough with my life. So that's why we tried this. And this is about all we can do. So maybe we'll do this again like next week. I don't know. We'll keep figuring out
We'll do it again soon for sure.
Yeah, however timely we want to make this. We're just going to kind of keep going at the Quarantcast. If you got any ideas for us to talk about or anything that you would like us to talk about, make sure you hit us in the comments or fire it off on Facebook. I think is it Podcast Metal or is it Metal Podcast? I don't remember.
I think it's the Metal Podcast on Facebook and Podcast Metal on Twitter.
Yeah, something like that. So find us out there. And of course, I'm at Bearded Ape on Twitter.
I'm at Godless Speaks.
So if you want us to talk about something, or if you got ideas for us, feel free to throw them our way, because we're not the brightest bulbs in the box. So we could use your help to crowdsource a little bit of material for us to go after. You know what I'm saying? So I'd love to hear from you for sure.
Yeah,
So
if you've listened this far, you've got to have some sort of idea.
No, they just skipped ahead, man. Skip. Okay, all right. And we're at the end, finally. It shows I listened. All right, good times. So make sure you to check us out again when you get a chance. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and all that good stuff as well. So until next time, I am Chuck.
I'm Godless.
And this is another episode of the Metal Podcast.
Groovy.